Welcome back. Donald Trump began 2024 facing two federal cases that threatened to send him to prison. But now that he's president-elect, those cases are not going to be going anywhere. Why, you might ask? Well, that's because it's well established that a sitting president cannot be prosecuted. Former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani is standing by. And Neama, I haven't had the chance to talk to you about this yet. I want to put Trump aside for a second and speak in generalities. Why could the presidency get someone off the hook? Why does the system work that way?
Well, long-standing Department of Justice guidance dating back to the 70s says that a sitting president can't be prosecuted, period. The DOJ has a memo from 1973. It was re-upped in 2000, well before Donald Trump. And because he is the head of the executive branch, the president cannot be prosecuted. It's just that simple. Obviously, he could pardon himself, but this would apply to the federal cases as well as the state case in Fulton County, Georgia.
I'm going to bring up that case in Georgia here shortly, but, let's talk about Trump's federal cases. I'll get to those state level ones in a moment. The federal cases are, of course, the January 6th case. Then there's the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. They are winding down those cases. From Smith's perspective, though, could he have played this better, or were these pursuits doomed to fail no matter what, Neema?
There's no question that Smith could have done a better and different job when it comes to prosecuting these cases. I mean, there's many things I can be critical about, but you look at Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and you can be critical of that case, whether it should have been filed or not. It certainly wasn't a serious case, but at least he got the case to trial. And if you're a prosecutor, your job is obviously to pursue justice, but short of that, you're to try cases and to secure convictions. And Jack Smith got nowhere near trial in this case. He failed to anticipate Trump's main defense, which was going to be presidential immunity. He took way too long to file these cases. The January 6th committee finished their investigation much earlier than he did, and he has the resources of the entire Department of Justice. So, in terms of timing, he took too long. He filed in South Florida, classified documents case. He could have filed in D.C. It would have been more aggressive, but he took the risk that he would get Judge Eileen Cannon, who was the newest judge and was statistically most likely to get that case. So there was a lot of things that Smith procedurally did wrong. And I think, frankly, he failed to anticipate that Trump would win and win resoundingly and his cases would go away. He didn't anticipate this huge political risk. So I do take issue with how he handled this case because he spent tens of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money and ultimately didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, so how could this have played out if Harris had won this week then?
Well, it'd be very different. I mean, Judge Eileen Cannon in South Florida, we know that she dismissed the classified documents case, saying that Jack Smith's appointment was unconstitutional. It violated the appropriations and appointments clauses of the Constitution. But that case is on appeal in the 7th and the 11th Circuit, and I think that there's a chance that the 11th Circuit would have reversed and sent the case back. Obviously, Trump could still argue immunity in that case, but really it's D.C. where Jack Smith has a very favorable judge, and Judge Tanya Chutkan. She's ruled against Trump previously. I think she would have likely denied immunity. Obviously, would have gone back up again to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. But that was Jack Smith's best opportunity to get a conviction here. But the fact that we're nowhere near there, it's really a big L for him as well as the entire Department of Justice.
So how do they wind cases like this down, Neema? As you mentioned, so many resources were put into them. How do they undo it all? What are they likely doing behind the scenes?
Well, procedurally, what Smith should do and should do immediately is dismiss both cases. In D.C., it would be file a motion to dismiss the indictment in the D.C. election fraud case. In Florida, it would be abandoning that 11th Circuit appeal because the cases are over. Trump is president-elect. Now, if he fails to do so and fails to do so immediately, I expect the defense to file motions to dismiss. And of course, if that doesn't happen, Donald Trump can simply direct his attorney general to fire Smith as soon as he takes office in January.
Okay, so let's talk about his state cases. One is in Georgia, and similar to the federal January 6th case, that one has to do with charges relating to efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Will a state-level case, as you alluded to, will a state-level case get the same treatment as the federal cases, and why?
It should, Austin. The same principles apply as well as the supremacy clause. We can't have state and local prosecutors charging the president. It just doesn't work. Now, Fani Willis I'm even more critical of her than Jack Smith because not only did she take even longer to file than him, she charged 19 co-defendants, making it impossible that that case was going to go anywhere. And of course, she hired her boyfriend Nathan Wade as a special prosecutor. So that case is up on appeal, should absolutely be dismissed as well. And really, the only question here, with respect to every case except New York, which I'll get to, is what happens to all these co-defendants. There's co-defendants in South Florida that were charged along with Donald Trump, and of course, many co-defendants that remain in Georgia, folks like Giuliani, Mark Meadows. As Fonnie Willis insists on going forward and prosecuting them, but she will have to dismiss Trump, and she should do so in short order.
Okay, so the New York hush money case. He's been convicted in that one, but no sentencing yet. What happens there, Neema?
Well, this is a tougher case for Donald Trump because, of course, he's already been tried and convicted. Now, he's going to argue immunity, and not necessarily that he's immune because there were official acts. But if you remember the Supreme Court's decision, Austin, it was very broad. It said not only can presidents not be charged for official acts, but no evidence of official acts can even come into a trial. And there was some evidence of Trump's communications with Hope Hicks. Of course, she was originally working for his campaign, then became a White House official, as well as some tweets that Trump sent about Michael Cohen. Arguably, that was evidence of official acts. So maybe Trump should get that case dismissed or a new trial. It's going to be up to Judge Juan Merchan to rule on that motion next week. He has some other arguments as well that as president elect, he can't be sentenced or that the case should have been removed from state to federal court. Ultimately, though, I don't think that's going to matter. I think, regardless of what the outcome of the election was, I think, and I've consistently said that Judge Merchan is going to sentence Trump to a fine, probation at max. You cannot incarcerate a former president. It logistically is impossible. You're not going to send him to Rikers with Secret Service protection. Obviously, you're not going to do that now either. So the question is the sentencing delayed for some reason? But I think given how the charges really aren't that serious, Trump has certainly no criminal history. Anyone else would have gotten probation. I expect it to be wrapped up with a fine and Trump to take office in January with all his criminal cases behind him.
Before we go here, let's pivot to Biden. This is something that Kraft and I were talking about a half hour ago. Presidents, when they're on their way out, it's not too uncommon that we see a number of pardons taking place. And Karine Jean-Pierre was asked ad nauseum today during the White House press briefing whether or not there was any chance that the president might pardon his son, Hunter. Is that a possibility?
I've gone on record saying that Joe Biden will absolutely pardon his son, Hunter Biden, on the way out. There's no reason not to. He's a lame duck president. And, he's facing some real time. And, talk about special counsels that did their job. David Weiss tried Hunter Biden in Delaware and got a guilty plea in Los Angeles, where I live, well before Jack Smith got anywhere. So I think, given the fact that Hunter Biden is facing the very real possibility of prison time, given the amount of the tax loss, and the fact that Joe Biden really has nothing to lose at this point and has come out and said that he loves his son and he blames this all on his drug addiction, I think Joe Biden will pardon Hunter and an 11th hour pardon on his way out.
Neema, thanks. Talk soon.